Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ. We are putting a bow on LSU's win over South Carolina 36-33 in Columbia. It was a hard-fought battle for the Tigers today. Brian Kelly's team improving to 2-1 for a third consecutive year, 6-1 in their last 7 road games versus unranked teams. For South Carolina, that's a 6th straight loss versus ranked opponents. They fall to 2-1 on the season. It is a whole new Saturday tour with Josh Pate, and we now welcome him in because he was at this game in Columbia, South Carolina. Josh, you've been treated to 3 road teams winning so far this season, but this game was the closest one that you've seen. Quite a battle out there in South Carolina today.
Yeah, Jeremy, I come to you with my friends, the Tractors, that just follow me around every week. We were standing here. I was actually standing right where I'm standing now. This place was 85,000 strong, full throat. South Carolina's up 17-0. You could not have prayed for a better start if you were Shane Beamer than that. And we're gazing across the field from where we stand at LSU sideline. I'll tell you what struck me, and what ended up being kind of prophetic, and what Brian Kelly ended up talking about after the game, is how little panic there was over there. Now, they got a lot of veteran guys on that team, but keep in mind now, this is a 1-1 team. They come in here, it's their conference opener. If they fall to 1-2, the toxicity that would have surrounded that program would be unimaginable. And they're standing over there, and they find a way to get in it, stay in it, and then they keep taking punches because South Carolina, it's not like they got stoned the rest of the day. South Carolina ends up having 33 on the board themselves, but the ebbs and flows of a football game, especially this one, which seemed like an eternity, it's such a testament to how if you keep fighting, some stuff can go your way. If you got really talented pieces like LSU does, if you've got an emerging quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier, things can go your way. They did. And Jeremy, I know a lot of people probably watched this, and they watched week 1 with LSU. They lost to USC. Oh, it took South Carolina's backup quarterback coming in for you to be able to catch up. I'm not necessarily going to argue with you. I'm just going to say, do we not see every year some team that gets written off or left for dead in September, and then by November you're thinking back because they've gotten on a roll, and you're saying, wow, at the time I didn't really make much of that little last-second win, that missed field goal win they got up in Columbia, but come to find out that may have been the impetus for some big things, as it turns out.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, about this possibly being maybe a character victory for LSU because of the fact that they were able to fight back in this game despite the fact that they were down 17-0 at one point, and Lenore Sellers goes out of this game for South Carolina. But one of the things that the guys were saying here, Josh, about this LSU team is that they still haven't answered all the questions. What questions do you still have about LSU?
Oh, I mean, they got run on for over 240 yards today. They got down 17-0. They had special teams miscues. Look, I just went to Brian Kelly's postgame, and he looked happy because he had a smile on his face, but he had the physical appearance of a coach that had just coached 5 games and lost 4 out of the 5. Just complete mess. Everyone is, because it's really humid here today. But when he got asked about that in the post game, Jeremy, it was a lot of just a deep breath. He paused before several answers because you don't want to be throwing guys under the bus after a win per se, but they know, and what he talked about and what I think was very evident today is this is not going to be some vintage LSU team where they can hang 20 and then hope the defense carries them like Michigan did last year. That's not going to be this team. But what you can do is, in an imperfect way, you can scratch out wins like this. You can end up developing an identity and a character about your team. And then, again, when you've got talent in the room like they do, you never give up on that. You don't ever give up on talent. Now it's not always going to come through for you, but you don't ever give up on it, because if you execute and you position it the right way, again, we got a 12-team playoff in this sport now. Not that they should be thinking about it, but you and I can talk about it. You do not write teams off, especially teams with a top 10 roster this early in the season.
When it comes to South Carolina, we'll wait to see what the situation is with Lenore Sellers, but Robbie Ashford comes in and manages to do a decent job for them. But Josh, where does South Carolina go from here with Akron coming up next?
It's a gut check because, you know, they struggled with Old Dominion in week 1. And then got everyone's attention with the Kentucky win on the road last week. And they came in here, Jerry, this thing probably I'd say more times than not, if you simulated out of 100 goes South Carolina's way, that doesn't matter because today's version went LSU's way. But the biggest gut check here is, so the eyes of the nation are upon you today. And everyone's excited for today. And this place was rocking today. If you want to prove that you got a veteran team, you got a program that's taking the next step or two, well, then they'll play to the same standard no matter which opponent comes in here. And that stuff is so easy to say, and it sounds like coach speak. But I'm telling you, we're blessed because we get to be on the sideline for the biggest game in the country every week. So we never see a team not up. We're not on the sideline for South Carolina-Akron, but we're checking our scores. We're looking at our phone every Saturday. And every Saturday we do, what? They're tied at the half with who? And you got to be careful because this thing should be gone by tomorrow afternoon, and you should be back on the practice field Monday ready to go. And then we check on the quarterback situation. But look, Robbie Ashford has experience in this league, and Robbie Ashford should be able to beat Akron if it comes to that.
You would certainly hope so. All right, Josh, we've got to get you off that field before you get run over. We've got all kinds of things going on behind you. But a whole new Saturday tour. Josh Pate in Columbia, South Carolina for us today, helping us recap LSU's 36-33 win over the Gamecocks. And, of course, Josh Pate, his college football show, recaps all the major storylines from the weekend and also starts the look ahead. A recap Tuesday, look ahead Thursday, and, of course, reaction on Sunday. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time for you live on YouTube.